guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Christian here. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today I thought we could do a video talking about all of the products that I knew I loved the minute they hit my face. It was not a question. It was not a I need to try this once or twice or maybe possibly. Like, the love was so real. Some of these products have since become my holy grails. Every time I pull them back out and put them on my face, I am reminded why I love them so much. Most products, it takes a couple of uses to realize if you like it or don't like it. Sometimes you'll like something and then you'll hate it, or sometimes you'll actually hate it and then you'll end up really liking it the more you use it. These are products that impressed me instantly from the moment that I tried them, and my opinions have not changed. So if you're interested in like my top rated favorites, like over the top good products, then you're in the right place. You're going to want to go ahead and keep on watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you do enjoy me and my content. And yeah, you guys, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first product that I want to talk about, it is a new-ish release, and it's actually a Colorpop release. This is the Colorpop and Shayla Perception palette. Now, I did do a full-on get ready with me talking about this particular palette and testing out, or not get ready with me, but a testing out new makeup, and I fell in love with this palette instantly. Every time that I have used this palette, I have just been so unbelievably impressed. It retailed for $23, or I believe if you bought her entire set, it was $59. This does have 16 different eyeshadows with different finishes. It's mostly mattes and shimmers. There is one in here that has more of a matte base with a little bit of shimmer throughout it. So all together you have 4 mattes, and then if you can kind of count this one down here as a matte, because it does perform similarly to a matte on the eye. I love this palette. I have a couple of Colorpop palettes. I don't typically reach for them very often. I don't know why, because Colorpop actually has a pretty decent formulation and they have a pretty good eyeshadow, but just for some reason I don't think to grab their eyeshadow palettes. But this one, it is deep, it is dark, it is rich, it is vibrant. I love a good orange, love a good orange. Then these two shades right here, oh my gosh. These two shades are so beautiful. Like, it's just an all-around good palette. Of course, I will admit I tend to kind of stay in this realm right here. I haven't played with like the blues too much because I'm afraid of color, but I just think it's a good palette. It inspires me. Like, I will link a video above in the cards where I talked about this palette and how I had been kind of a little bit of a makeup rut, and when I saw, you know, the palette, the swatches, her ad campaign for this particular palette, I got super excited, and it lived up to the hype that I had built within my head. It is so good. I don't know if it's still available. If this is still available, the Shayla and Colorpop Perception palette, I would definitely recommend getting it. It is totally worth the very affordable price point of $23, and the shades are bomb. I have to do it. I have to mention it. I like to, you know, ride my point home. I do have another foundation to talk about, but this is my Holy Grail foundation. I have a video from the first time that I tried this foundation and I loved it instantly. It is the foundation that I'm wearing on my face today. It is a great color match. It lasts all day and it just looks beautiful on the skin. This is the Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Foundation, and I have mine in the shade 2-in-1 Cashew. Now, in the video where I tried this palette, I also tried, I believe, the concealer, the matching concealer to this. I did not have the same feelings about the concealer that I did about this guy. I love this foundation. This is my third bottle. It's one of those foundations that I will repurchase time and time again because it's just beautiful. It's a medium to full coverage, buildable, easily buildable. It never looks cakey. It never looks overdone. It covers all of my redness. It evens out my skin tone. I was a little bit more dry when I first tried this foundation. Now I'm starting to lean a little bit more oily combo, and it still works, thank goodness, because I think I would have been so sad if this foundation did not work for my new skin issues. I freaking love this, and we're done because I think there's like 20 videos on my channel talking about that. No exaggeration. Now I want to go ahead and talk about a bronzer. It is the bronzer that I'm wearing today. It is the bronzer that I have probably worn in every video that I have filmed recently. It is my everyday bronzer. If you guys are aware, my two favorite bronzers from like last year were the Bare Minerals bronzer and the Becca Capri Coast, I believe is the one that I liked. Was it Capri Coast or Bali Sands? I'm not sure. Loved those last year. I haven't really been reaching for them a ton this year because the two bronzers that I have been using the most are these two. These are the, well, let's start with this one. This is the NARS Seaside Bronzer, and I love this bronzer. You don't really hear a lot of people talking about this particular bronzer. It is, I will admit, I will say that it is formed a little bit of a hard pan in the actual pan itself, which is a little bit annoying, especially for as expensive as NARS products are. But this is like the most soft, natural looking bronzer. It does lean a little bit more warm toned. I don't, if you know, ooh, did I just break it? Oh, I didn't realize that the mirror went all the way back like that. It is the most beautiful warm tone bronzer. If you didn't know, I don't typically like warm tones, or it is a little bit more on the warm tone side without being fully like orangey. And I think that's what I like about it. I also feel like maybe it has a little bit of a yellowish undertone to it as well. What I like about this bronzer is I take it on. See, I try to have all of my stuff ready so I can talk about it, and then it disappears. Okay, anyways, I take it on my MAC 168 brush, and basically I just kind of stamp it in place, and then it just blends itself out so easily. It's a very forgiving bronzer. It is firmly pressed in the pan, so not all brushes are going to work for this type of bronzer, and that could be why some people don't like it. Like, I feel like a fluffier brush won't pick it up as much. I feel like you definitely need a little bit of a tighter brush, but like a brush that you can also blend with as well. Like if you go in with, say, this bronzer brush, this is the Tom Ford bronzer brush, I don't think that this one would work as well as something that I really cannot find it. I had it, oh. Well, anyways, I really cannot find the brush, and I've been reaching for it every day. It's just beautiful on the skin, and it's all in all a really, it has such a nice formulation. It just feels like super soft to the touch. It applies the perfect amount of pigmentation. Cannot overdo it with this particular bronzer, and those are bronzers that I typically like, which is the same reason why I love the Bare Minerals I don't know what it's called. Oh, it's right here. Is this it? Which is the same reason I loved the Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze so much, because it just can't, like, you can apply it and apply it and apply it, and it never is too much. And I like that look, like, because I noticed when I was having issues with my bronzer, because I do have a lot of discoloration on my forehead, so if bronzers are too pigmented, I feel like my bronzers always look patchy and just like not good. Even if it is not the bronzer, it's the actual discoloration on my forehead sometimes peeking through. I feel like with more softer bronzers, I definitely don't have that issue, and I like the ability to be able to like build them up. Now, this is not going to work as a contour. This is just going to give a really beautiful light wash to your cheeks. It's not going to be, if you want to sculpt things out, if you want to get like a super sun-kissed bronze, this might not be the bronzer for you. But if you just want something natural and easy and effortless, I really like this. Okay, so moving on to another eyeshadow palette. And I have definitely been talking about this eyeshadow palette quite a bit. It is the eyeshadow palette that I am wearing on my eyes. I didn't have high hopes for this eyeshadow palette. I don't know why. I'm not sure if I prejudged it because it was a YouTuber brand and it was the first product release. I have no idea. But I freaking love this palette. It is the palette that I have been reaching for the absolute most in recent months. It has 10 eyeshadows. I believe it retailed for $42. You can pick it up from Ulta and the Dominique Cosmetics website. You get 3 shimmers, 7 mattes. I have played with every single shade in here, whether I put them in my crease, put them on my lower lash line. This palette is perfect, absolutely perfect. And one thing that I do like about this palette, which some people might take as a negative, I like the fact that we have just 2 nice browns in here. I feel like I would like this palette a little bit less had there actually been a black, because I don't ever use black eyeshadow. It has the burnt dusty orange, which I live for. It has a very nice dark brown deepening shade. These 3 shimmers down here complement the matte so well. Some people might say that it doesn't really have a brow bone highlight, which okay, fine, it doesn't, but I don't know, like I feel like this, you have the perfect pops of color. This is a very neutral wearable palette. You could wear it to work. I wear this to work all the time. You can make it a little bit more fun by adding these 2 colors to the lower lash line. Like if you're gonna go have drinks with your friend after work, and if you wanna carry a big old palette in your purse, you can run one of these on your lower lash line and boom, you instantly have a more night appropriate look. You have like your 2 warmer crease shades here. You have more of like your neutral dark, super rich right here brown. You have these shimmers just feel amazing on Like they just feel so good. They're so high shine. They almost feel, I mean, they feel, is there dimethicone in here? They feel very like dimethicone-y, like they feel very heavy, very substantial. You could wear them all day. They're not gonna budge. They're not gonna go anywhere. You can build them up. I have, like I mentioned, I'm wearing the eyeshadow palette today. I almost never use Fix Plus because look at that, just one swatch. They're beautiful. This is a 5-star rated palette. It's just a great neutral everyday palette. It's very easy to use, very easy to blend. You get a decent amount of product in here. I like the pan sizes in here. Like, it has been a while since I have been this impressed by an eyeshadow palette. Like I mentioned, like it feels, the eyeshadows themselves feel expensive. They feel substantial. They glide. Like one swipe, I barely touch that. Barely touch that. And it's one of those shadows that'll just last, like palettes that'll just last for days. It is very rare that a matte shadow will perform as well as a shimmer. Like when you swatch them in a palette, normally you're like, oh my god, the shimmers are absolutely amazing, which, let's be honest, that's not really that hard to do. But when a matte is buttery and creamy and smooth and swatches as well as a shimmer, you know you got something good on your hands. You know you have something special. I love this palette. I've been talking about it quite a bit lately. I think Kristen Dominique is actually not somebody that I watch very often. I'm not sure why, but this palette, I just want to say, not that she's ever going to watch this video, but you knocked this out of the park. You did such a great job. I have been playing with the Laura Lee Los Angeles Cat's Pajamas, which is also a first release, and I'm nowhere near as impressed with this as I was with this guy. So you did an amazing freaking job, and I'm obsessed with that palette. Something else that I want to mention, which might be kind of boring and you might not care about it, but I think it's important to note because the brows can make or break an eye. Like the brows can make or break an entire situation happening on your face. So you definitely want your brows to be on point. I picked this up recently. This is the 24-hour brow setter by Benefit, and this is hands down the best brow setter that I have ever freaking tried. I feel like Benefit Cosmetics, when it comes to brows, for me, like they just in general knock it out of the park. I love the Precisely My Brow. The Goof Proof works for me whenever I was trying to grow out my brows and change the shape. That's amazing. I like the Ka-Brow if I want a super defined brow. The Gimme Brow is like one of my favorite products of all time. If you've been on my channel for a while, you would know that. And this has clearly knocked everything else out of the running for brow setters. It just locks, especially like in the tail of my brows. I tend to get a little bit longer hair, and they don't, like when I draw my brow, like it's not the exact shape of the actual brow that I have. So then I tend to have a couple of little hairs that want to like play me towards the tail. This, I swipe them up and lock them in, and it doesn't move. My brows don't go anywhere. It's not, they don't feel crispy, like they feel natural. They don't look like super glossy, because there are brow pencils that there are brow setters. Ooh, did I just, like, am I losing my voice, y'all? There are brow setters that will make your brows look almost like shiny, and this just looks so good. Like I like to kind of brush my brows up first and then kind of back, and this gets the job done. Holy cow. And I really like the brush on here a lot. It's also more like a comb, so it really coats the brows. Other brow gels, like the Anastasia one, it's so thick. Like you can see, like it's so thick, and I feel like it can kind of get everywhere, whereas this comb is just a little bit more precise. Like the actual bristles are closer together, so when you sweep them out, you actually get every single brow hair, and it's like fully coated. I tried that recently for the first time, and I have been using it nonstop since. Let's talk about a highlighter. It is the highlighter that I am wearing today, and from the first time I tried this, I was like, give it to me. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Amrezy highlighter. And this highlighter is beautiful. Like I wasn't surprised by how much I actually love this highlighter, because I love, for the most part, every highlighter palette that Anastasia has come out with. I think she does highlighters extremely well. Like if she wasn't known for brows, I feel like at this point she would be known for like her bomb AF highlighters. First of all, it's just actually stunning to look at. If you have a little bit of like a fairer to lighter skin tone, you would almost be afraid, like by looking at it, you would think, oh, that might be too gold for me. It might not work for me. Honey, no. Like, look at this. Look at this high shine. The color, once it gets buffed out, the color I feel like is perfect for so many different skin tones. It is one of those highlighters that just looks wet. Like your skin is just dripping wet. And I feel like that's not necessarily a look that I want to go for all the time, but whenever I do want to go for that look, it's absolutely everything to me. I'm wearing it on the inner corners. I do have it on my cheekbones today. It's stunning, and it is a really actually good color. There's no glitter in here whatsoever. I feel like that's where a lot of brands mess up, is whenever they want to make like a super intense highlighter, they'll just like chunk a bunch of glitter in there. So like, I guess their thinking is when it reflects the sun, you'll see the glitter. Nobody wants glitter on their cheeks. I mean, sometimes there's a time and a place for everything, but like if I wanted to wear, like for example, I'll wear this to work, I don't care. I'll just go in with a little bit of a lighter hand. Whereas a highlighter that has a little bit more glitter in it, or it's a little bit more glitter infused, if you put it on your cheeks, chances are glitter is gonna go everywhere. You gotta spend more time buffing it into the skin, and it just looks, it'll show texture a little bit more. Whereas this is just flawless. And I was impressed with this. I loved it. It became like top shelf. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about today is the Cover FX Power Play Foundation. I picked mine up in the shade N25. This foundation is supposed to be a more matte, medium to full coverage foundation. It comes in 40 different shades. You get 1.18 fluid ounces in this particular foundation. I believe it retails for $44. I'm pretty sure it's in that price range. First of all, I want to say that when it comes to base products, and I've said this before so many times on my channel, Cover FX, I feel like they just get it right. I like most everything that I try from Cover FX when it comes to base products. I love their powder. That was also, I should have mentioned that in this video because I love that powder from the first time that I tried it. I love their custom enhancer drops. Their original foundation, well, not their original foundation, but the foundation that came in the squeezy tube, I can't remember what it was called. That was a good foundation. So I feel like when it comes to base products, this is amazing. What I like about this foundation is my skin is kind of transitioning right now. I used to have the most dry skin ever, and now I'm noticing that it's leaning a little bit more toward oily in combination, and I'm having the hardest time finding foundations that work for my skin. I think that's why I've just loved this foundation so much, because it has worked for me like through and through. And a lot of my other foundations have really been disappointing me. I've noticed that a lot of other foundations that I've been trying or playing and testing, they break apart so much right here, because I'm noticing that I'm starting to get super oily in my cheek area. And another thing is that I am not as into like super full coverage foundation as I used to be. My skin is nowhere near as bad as it used to be. So I used to just want to cover. And now I don't mind if like a few of my natural discoloration on my forehead peeks through a little bit, or if the like every little thing is not canceled out. I don't mind so much if my skin looks a little bit more like skin. So I do like the fact that this foundation does provide good coverage, but it's like a more natural, I wouldn't go as far as to say like it's like a natural light coverage, like a your skin but better situation, because it's definitely not that, but it just lays onto the skin so beautifully. The longer you wear it and the more it kind of mixes with the natural oils of your skin, I feel like the better it looks. I know that this claims to be like super matte, but even though I still get a little bit oily in my T-zone now, I definitely still have dry skin in the perimeters, and there will be days like my skin will still be dry, in between my eyebrows will still be dry, and my forehead will still be unbelievably dry. It is just my cheeks that I'm noticing that I'm having a lot of issues with oil, and I feel like this is not matte to the point where it aggravates my dry skin. And like, because a lot of matte foundations, especially when my skin was way more dry, like you could see it flaking up and you could see it just not looking good. I feel like this foundation would be great for like more combination skin if you're interested in that. Dry skin, I might say it might be a pass, but I feel like it's not so overly matte to where like it would just be the worst situation in the world for you. But when you first apply it, it definitely does have that more of a matte finish, but I feel like it doesn't stay super matte all day. Like I feel like as the day wears on, you can definitely start to see a little bit of the more natural oils. It definitely becomes a little bit more lifelike, I love the undertone of this foundation. Cover FX gets undertones extremely well when it comes to the foundations. I feel like they're one of few brands that release products for everybody, and I like it. I feel like this foundation overall, I feel like it's having mixed reviews. I've been impressed. The first time I tried it, it was in a video. I told you guys that I tried this foundation for the first time and that I genuinely liked it. And I mentioned in that video that the last time I tried a foundation on the first time that I liked that much was my Laura Mercier. I don't like it. I don't like this foundation as much as my Laura Mercier because I feel like my Laura Mercier I can wear for like 15 hours and it'll look flawless all day. I feel like after about 8 hours of wear, this one does start to not look as nice on my skin. So my Laura Mercier is still more like my everyday foundation, and this is one that I like to rotate just so I can test out new things and play with new things. It definitely is a little bit thicker. I don't know why I was expecting it to be super runny and liquidy. It is not. It has a more squeezy tube. It dries down to more of a, I'm not wearing it today. For some reason I was thinking I put it on today. It dries down to more of like a powder finish. I prefer this foundation actually with a brush, whereas my Laura Mercier foundation, I can apply that any kind of way and it works beautifully. And I just really like this foundation. I was impressed by it. I think it's a good release. I have to pick up their other foundation because it's been a really long time since I used that and see how I feel about it now that my skin has changed a little bit more. But anyways, you guys, that's all the products that I wanted to talk about today. Products that have really excited me and were really like 5-star, knock it out of the park the first time I applied them to my face, and my opinions on them have not changed the more that I've worn them. I really hope that you did enjoy this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel out a lot. Don't forget to subscribe down below. I've never really say this, but hit that notification bell because some of you guys are telling me that you aren't getting notifications, and I know that I wasn't uploading regularly for a while, and I'm gonna start getting back onto like, I'm gonna at least start trying to get 2 videos out a week. I don't have a set filming schedule yet. I'm gonna kind of work on that. And yeah, you guys, I really hope you enjoyed this content. I have another video coming up that's very similar, but it's where I'm gonna be talking about 5-star rated products that are on the Ulta app as opposed to products that I feel are 5-star rated. But yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.